everyone, welcome to another episode of Art's Trouble Cast. Today's episode will be about painting techniques. What are your favorites?
Of course, I would be happy to share my observation. Starting with painting, there are really many techniques, and each of them has its unique features. Maybe let's start with oldest one, tempera.
This is one of my favorites, although it is no longer used.
Tempera is one of the oldest painting techniques, which was particularly popular in the Middle Ages and Renaissance. It is characterized by the fact that paints were mixed with egg yolk and other substances that acted as a binder. Thanks to this, tempera is quite quick to use, and the colors have an intense matte shade.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. What are its advantages and disadvantages?
The main advantage of tempera is durability and strength. Paintings made with this technique often survive for hundreds of years, which can be seen in many works of art from those eras. The disadvantage is that tempera-based paints dry very quickly, which make it difficult to work with, especially in the case of larger surfaces. In addition, its properties limit the palette, not allowing for the effect of deep shadows, as in the case of oils.
A demanding technique. And what about watercolors? From what I know, that was also a popular technique at different times.
Watercolors are another technique that has been used for centuries, although their peak popularity occurred in the 18th and 19th centuries. Watercolors are water-soluble paint, and their main features is transparency. This allows you to achieve delicate, transparent effects that are difficult to achieve in other techniques.
It has to be spectacular, especially when it comes to portraits and landscapes.
Yes, exactly. Watercolors are great for painting landscapes, especially those with a light, windy atmosphere, such as sky, fog, or water. Thanks to their transparency, the painter can create subtle transitions between colors.
One of the disadvantages of watercolors is that they are quite difficult to control. The paint can spill or flow in unexpected places, which requires a precise approach. I have to admit that it is a bit like balancing on the edge, beautiful effects, but also risk. And what about the oil technique?
Oil is definitely one of the most well-known and versatile painting techniques. It has gained immense popularity since the 15th century, especially thanks to painters such as Jan van Eyck. In oil, you paint on canvas using paints that contain vegetable oil as a binder.
Oil paints have an incredible depth of color and allow for precise mixing of tones, which makes them ideal for achieving realistic effects. Yes, Renaissance and Baroque painters like Caravaggio used oil to achieve these incredible shadows.
One of the main advantages of oil painting is the ability to achieve deep shadows and very realistic light, as well as long time to work on details because the paints dry relatively slowly.
However, this technique has its drawbacks. The drying time can also be problematic when the painter wants to finish the work quickly. In addition, oil paints can be toxic and require proper preparation.
Okay, time for sculpture. Sculpture is a completely different field, but there are also quite a few techniques here. Classical sculpture was dominated by modeling in marble and bronze. Marble was especially popular in ancient Greece and Rome, and later in the Renaissance. Its durability and smooth surface allowed for the creation of very realistic portraits and figures.
Yeah, I think Michelangelo is one of the best examples when it comes to marble carving.
Yes, his David is one of the most famous examples of marble sculpture. In the Middle Ages, in connection with Christianity, wood carving was popular, especially in the creation of altars and figures of saints.
Bronze is still one of the most popular techniques, especially in the 20th century, in works such as those of Alberto Giacometti. Bronze is a very durable material and allows for realistic details while also being quite universally applicable.
Nowadays, synthetic materials are also used, such as epoxy resins or various types of plastics, which allow for quick molding and lower production costs, but may not have the same durability as traditional materials.
Contemporary painting also includes techniques such as spray or painting with spray paint. And this is a technique that gained popularity in the 20th century thanks to the graffiti movement and street art. It is characterized by the rapid application of paint as well as the possibility of obtaining various effects such as shadows or contours.
The spray technique definitely has its place in urban art. Contemporary painting and plastic techniques are a fascination field.
Gouache is a painting technique that is a form of watercolor but with the addition of white, which gives it characteristic opaque quality.
Gouache paints consist of pigment, water, jam Arabic, a binder, and white fillers, which makes them thicker and more opaque than traditional watercolors. Gouache allows for intense matte colors and excellent control over light effects.
Acrylic is a recent painting technique that uses water-based paints that contain pigment, water, and acrylic synthetic resins. Acrylic paints dry quickly and once dry create a durable, flexible coating.
Acrylic is incredibly versatile. It can be used both thinly and as a thick impasto. Thanks to its water-based formula, acrylic is easy to dilute and clean. Okay, that's all for today. Thanks and see you next week.